In November of 2020, I received an email from a curator at the Utah Museum of Fine Arts to participate in one of their exhibits, which I now recognize as the catalyst of Stations of Black Loss. They were mounting the exhibit titled Black Refractions, Highlights from the Studio Museum in Harlem, which featured 100 artworks by nearly 90 artists of African descent from the 1920s to the present. As part of the museum's mission to provide community programming and resources alongside the exhibit, they invited 6 local Black artists to share their unique perspective on an artwork of their choosing from the exhibit by creating an audio recording that would accompany the artwork in the gallery that was then also available online. Yours truly was one of the 6 selected artists, and if you could, if you have your cell phone on you, actually I'm going to invite you to open up your cell phone. I would like for you to see the work of art that I made the audio response for. So it is titled Repugnant Rapunzel. Repugnant, it's kind of a hard word, I'll spell it. Repugnant, and then Rapunzel, like the story tale character that we're probably all familiar with. And then after that, in parentheses, let down your hair. The name of the artist is Chakaia Booker, which is spelled Chakaia. Booker, Booker. So just take a second to find that piece of art and look at it, because I'm then going to read to you what I recorded about it. And while you're doing that, I'm going to give you like 45 seconds to sort of pull that up. And will my volunteers please come forward? Everyone find it? Okay. So here's what I recorded about it. I don't love this piece, at least not immediately. What is it anyway? Maybe a hunched dragon perched and defeated? Maybe it's supposed to be someone's penis? I skimmed the other artworks for anything else, but I can't stop thinking about it. I return to it. It is interesting, but do I like it? And is that even a relevant or an appropriate question? I see that the title is Repugnant Rapunzel, Let Down Your Hair. The materials are a pile of tires and bits of metal that have been twisted, mangled, and braided. Twisted, mangled, and braided. Words that I have used to describe my own 4C, kinky, coily hair countless times. Twisted, like the wet strands that I separate into smaller sections to wind around each other after washing, conditioning, detangling, oiling, and moisturizing my hair before I go to sleep. When I undo these twists in the morning, like my friends are so graciously doing for me right now, my curls will be popping, not matted and not mangled, the way they would be if I simply washed them and then rested my head against the pillow. Braided, like my hair several days after this process, when the curls have become a little bit flatter and less impressive, and I give myself a crown of French braids. I started getting my hair chemically straightened, which we call getting a relaxer or a perm, when I was 7 years old, and I continued to do so until I was 21. Side note here, I just found out that relaxers are related to or can contribute to uterine cancer. If you're unfamiliar with relaxers, they're this like creamy, we call them creamy crack, because it can be addicting to straighten your hair. And they are linked to lots of other health issues as well. So the fact that people begin doing them so early in their lives and do them continuously for a long time can be really dangerous. Relaxed hair may be straight, but it is also often stiff or frizzy if you don't care for it perfectly. When I was in 5th grade, asked me what would happen if I tried to run my fingers through my hair, starting at my scalp and combing down to my ends, like white girls always seem to do in slow motion. In 6th grade, told me that I could pass for a white girl if my hair blew in the wind more. In 8th grade, yelled, "Hey, Big Perm," every time I got on the bus, and then, "Bye, Big Perm," every time I got off. But back to Chakaia's work. I think of Rapunzel's long, blonde, and luscious hair that looked like the hair of all the white girls I wanted to be in elementary school. Opposite of the go-to looks for black girls like me. Slicked back buns formed around rolled up socks, pigtail braids that have shrunken, because that's what curly hair does, secured by ponytail holders with large plastic beads, pressed edges and relaxed tresses that frizz uncontrollably after recess in the humid air of my Louisiana hometown. I began to cry, remembering the hatred that I harbored for my hair until my 20s, until I moved to New York and saw that afros, puffs, cornrows, frohawks, locks, and pineapple ponytails donned by confident, beautiful, proud black women. They inspired me to finally big chop my damaged, relaxed hair and go natural. To finally see and learn about the curl pattern that I was born with. To finally love it instead of constantly fight with it and destroy it. So I didn't love Chakaia Booker's piece, at least not immediately. But I learned to love it after I realized that it reminded me of my journey towards self-acceptance. I love it now that I realize that it represents the labor that black people exert to maintain healthy curls. I love it now that I see it as a rebellion against the categorization of hair as good or bad. And I love it now that I recognize it as a celebration of texture as we fight for legislation to protect natural hairstyles in workplaces and schools. I love this piece, and I hope you do too.